The holidays are behind us and school routines are back. Now is the time to help your kids start the new semester strong. IXL helps students refresh what they learned in the fall, so they head into the new year feeling confident and prepared. With new units and new goals, IXL is the simplest way to build better habits and stay on top of lessons without the stress. As teachers dive into new material, kids can practice those exact same skills at home to make sure the lessons really stick. IXL is an award-winning platform covering math, language arts, science, and social studies for pre-K through 12th grade. It's personalized, interactive, and actually fun. Keep your kids motivated for the second half of the year at IXL.com. Don't miss out. 1 in 4 students in the U.S. are learning with IXL. IXL is used in 96 of the top 100 school districts in the U.S. Make an impact on your child's learning. Get IXL now. And listeners can get an exclusive 20% off IXL membership when they sign up today at IXLlearning.com/audio. Visit IXLlearning.com/audio to get the most effective learning program out there at the best price.
Welcome back to Come Back with a Warrant podcast. I'm Brandon Dinitz.
And I'm Monica Ashak. Before we kickstart this week's episode, this is your reminder that this podcast is not legal advice. It's real, unfiltered, and for entertainment purposes only. If you need to speak with a lawyer, call one. Or better yet, call us.
So today's kind of a cool subject. I like the fact that we are going to finally get into courtroom technology, AI, and really how things have kind of changed since COVID.
Yeah.
Because the court system as a whole has changed, and the way that lawyering has progressed in the last few years has definitely changed.
So true.
We have the addition of AI now that is incorporated into almost everything that we do. But before we even get to the AI, I sound very old when I say it. Before we get to the AI, no. Some of the earlier technology that's crept into the courtroom before that have been, Zoom and the remote hearing abilities. When we were first starting, courtroom technology was, putting up slideshows in trial, hooking up your computer to the courtroom TV and playing videos. That was the extent of courtroom technology. And the microphones.
And that was advanced compared to the projector they were using years ago. And before that, boards, probably, I don't know, nothing, chalkboards.
And then we get this virus, and the next day Zoom appears
suddenly,
and everything in court went to Zoom for a short amount of time. And we were able to just work and go to court via Zoom.
Even first appearance. So first appearance is within 24 hours of your arrest, you're supposed to see a judge. And they even figured out a way to do that remotely when the person is in jail in the same exact building as the judge.
Right.
So they've figured out a way for everything. Like, there is a way to remote in some way, shape. The jail has its own software or whatever company that they use. It's not Zoom. And then we have Zoom for court. And if it's some actually jurisdictions in Florida use Teams instead of Zoom, which I hate.
Right. Well, I mean,
this is not sponsored by Zoom, by the way.
No, but this technology has changed. No pun intended. But if you zoom forward from COVID, we are still using a lot of this technology, and it's not as much because you can still go to court. Now you can go back and go to court for hearings, but the ability to be in multiple jurisdictions at once now exists because you can. I can have a case in Broward County and a case in Palm Beach County, and I can sit in my office in West Palm Beach and handle both cases and appear. And that's beneficial. But it also takes away from the ability to interact with people in the courtroom and get certain things done.
Yes.
Talking to a prosecutor in person it can't be replaced by any sort of
email, Zoom
or email
nothing.
Or phone call.
No.
Making certain arguments in front of a judge is not the same over Zoom.
I agree.
They did try to do and were successful to an extent doing trials over Zoom. And
not a fan
my
of that.
sister-in-law and brother-in-law learned how to try cases in law school with Zoom.
Wow.
And they had, trial competitions through Zoom, which is just
That's crazy to me.
right. And also not enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
And it's not something that it's not entertaining for a jury. It's not entertaining for the court. And you don't get the same effect. Nothing
No.
is it's very different when you're doing it over the screen.
Yeah. The only thing that's easier on Zoom is like screen sharing. So like presenting evidence probably.
To an extent, but you can't confront somebody while you're cross-examining them the same way.
Yeah.
It takes a long time. And part of cross-examination that makes it so effective is the timing.
Mm-hmm.
The timing of the lawyer, the timing of the questioning. When there's this long drawn delay because now you have to have them look at something on the computer and it's not as quick, you lose some of that effectiveness. You lose some of that ability.
There's also kind of a reliability of the testimony issue because you really can't control what the witness is looking at on the screen. And even though they may be testifying or telling the judge that they're not looking at anything, you really never know. They may be looking at their old statement right in front of them and they could be testifying to it. Like there are so many issues that come up with Zoom. And like, I think it's great for convenience in terms of like rescheduling or like quick motions or things that are not so like in-person heavy, like what you're saying. But like I said, like sometimes I'll have a status check where it's like, I know it's going to be rescheduled, but I've been trying to get a hold of this prosecutor via email, phone for the past month, and I can't get a hold of them. The best way I know how to get this case resolved is to drive physically to court, talk to this prosecutor in person before addressing the case, because then I can move the case further along. So I agree with you. I think that is huge. Like having conversations in person that just like can't, you cannot, we can find as many substitutes as we want, which is good for convenience, but it's not the same.
No, it's not.
So speaking on AI specifically in the legal practice, and this is something that has been incorporated. So as a part of our job, we have like legal search engines. We have Westlaw and Lexis, which are the two biggest ones. There's obviously I think there's other
I don't even know
softwares.
about other ones, but those are the two.
They definitely exist, but those are the two big ones. And those are the ones they teach you in law school to learn how to search. And even with those platforms as a subscription, add-on subscription, they have an AI tool associated with the legal search engine that helps you identify cases that are on point with your case and like help you draft template motions. It's an AI. It's like ChatGPT, but it's associated with the Lexis or the Westlaw. And so this is something that all lawyers can have access to if they choose to pay for it. And the risk that has come up in the past and in actual real life, which is the production of basically bad case law or like there is, going back to ethics, a duty to be honest with the court, to file good faith motions, a duty to make sure that whatever we are alleging in our motion, the other side can disagree all they want, but we are saying the law based off of, like, we are representing the law as it is in our motion. And misrepresenting anything and anything you file with your bar license on the line and like signing that motion, you could risk losing your license. And so like that is why this is a big discussion in the current legal field, because it's an up and coming aspect of our jobs that is new, that nobody's ever experienced before. And now attorneys are using AI to their benefit. And I think they should. I use AI sometimes, but I have gotten bad case law from my legal AI where I double checked it, thankfully, and saw that this was something that was not even real. Yeah, it was something I wanted the case to say. Of course, it was beneficial to what I was searching. But I wouldn't like, I think people just copy and paste and I don't think it's a malicious thing that if that happened, I think it's just like, they're just trusting this AI tool to create good law and like do its job. But it's at the end of the day still like a robot or technology or whatever you want to call it, and can create fake news.
Right. But so it's so important to really explain what's happening and what lawyers are doing with AI that's problematic. anytime we write a motion and we make an argument and we're arguing based on the law, we have to put where we're getting that from. And that is relying on other cases that have happened in the past and have already been decided. That prior case law, which sets the law, we rely on that to make our arguments. So you have to cite to those cases and show exactly where you're getting your work from. It's no different than a bibliography or a work cited at the end of a report when you're in high school or in college. You have to cite where you're getting everything from. When the judges are reading these motions, they are looking at the case law and seeing that you are citing your argument based on this law from this case. The judge is saying, okay, well, if a lawyer is putting this in front of me, this case A exists and B says what they say it's going to. Because if either of those things aren't true, or if a new law has come out that makes that bad case law, you shouldn't be relying on it. And it's problematic if you are relying on it. Now, sometimes that happens where the law changes and you genuinely maybe didn't know about it. And then that's, the other side says, no, that law is no longer good law. Fine. That happens in typical arguments. But putting out there a case that proclaims to say something when that case doesn't even exist is a huge problem. And as a lawyer, you have the responsibility to know what the cases you're citing, what they say and what they actually stand for.
Yeah. And you also have a responsibility to know the case law that goes against what you're saying or what you're citing. And there is even an argument to be made that you have to even, I think good lawyers would address the bad case law in their own motion. Like say that this is the law that supports what I'm saying. There is bad case law because the other side is going to come and say there's bad case law on this. They're going to say there's bad case law that you did not address in your motion, which is also a problem. And then you're going to have to rebut it in court anyways. So you might as well just prepare accordingly and put it in your motion, unless it's something that's like not completely on point with the issue. But the duty to disclose all of the law related to the issue or to what you're requesting with the court is a part of your ethical role as a lawyer. And you could end up risking way more than what you think. Using AI is great and it's a part of what we're doing now, but at the same time,
the holidays are behind us and school routines are back. Now is the time to help your kids start the new semester strong. IXL helps students refresh what they learned in the fall, so they head into the new year feeling confident and prepared. With new units and new goals, IXL is the simplest way to build better habits and stay on top of lessons without the stress. As teachers dive into new material, kids can practice those exact same skills at home to make sure the lessons really stick. IXL is an award-winning platform covering math, language arts, science, and social studies for pre-K through 12th grade. It's personalized, interactive, and actually fun. Keep your kids motivated for the second half of the year at IXL.com. Don't miss out. 1 in 4 students in the U.S. are learning with IXL. IXL is used in 96 of the top 100 school districts in the U.S. Make an impact on your child's learning. Get IXL now. And listeners can get an exclusive 20% off IXL membership when they sign up today at IXLlearning.com/audio. Visit IXLlearning.com/audio to get the most effective learning program out there at the best price.
We need to be very careful.
And there's a case right now that I know about that we spoke about with it was a Morgan and Morgan case against, I believe, Walmart, and they had an associate that used ChatGPT and cited to help write their motion, and ChatGPT spit out some case law for them to use that was on point with their side of the argument. And when the judge reviewed the case law, he found that those cases didn't exist. And that caused a huge problem for those lawyers. You could be held in contempt for things like that. It's a very big deal. And I believe that law firm now has a policy where you're not allowed to use ChatGPT, but that wasn't an issue that, we had a few years ago. And now it's something that's really serious because AI is wonderful in the things that it can do for you if utilized correctly. but you can't fully rely on it. Just like you
No.
can't fully rely on, anything. You have to check over the work that it does for you.
Yeah, especially if you're putting your bar number on the
Correct.
like
You can't just wing it just because it's saving you a significant amount of time.
it's already saving you a significant amount of time. You know what I mean? Like your work now is to double check it and like proofread it.
Right.
It's like not.
It's just an added laziness if you're not checking the actual work.
Exactly.
That it's
Like, yeah, it's convenient, but at the same time, like, knowing what you're risking, it's just not worth it. So, but speaking on like, it's so funny because I have a story about when presenting like slideshows and stuff in court, like talking about courtroom
technology.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know why I couldn't get that out,
That's
but
all right.
I was on a murder trial, and usually, to be fair, for people who don't know, prosecutors are usually the ones that are familiar with the courtroom technology because they're the ones that always present the case. They're always the ones that have the video, they have the footage, like they're the ones putting it up on the screen, okay? Barely ever are defense attorneys doing that. It happens sometimes, but usually it's them. And so they're very familiar with that. And so I was in the middle of a murder trial, and I was trying it with someone who's older than me and wasn't as familiar with courtroom technology. I know nothing about that because, like I said, I never ran into this problem. So I was in the middle of a murder trial, and we had to present. It was like a still screenshot from a video footage, and the judge I like now I'm thinking about it. The judge just like let me just like try to figure it out, but it was really a shit show, and I had to ask the prosecutor in front of the jury to help me set up what we needed to set up, and she got up and helped me, but it was very much so like she did not want to. I was like, can you please help me? And like everybody's just sitting and watching, and I'm like trying to figure out courtroom technology. My heart's beating a million times. My client's probably like, WTF? The judge is like wasting my time. I'm like, can we get IT in here?
I don't like that, because when I was the prosecutor and I was doing anything in the courtroom, if the other side was having trouble,
so helpful.
I was very helpful
Yeah.
because I thought I looked great in front of the jury being so helpful.
I think it does.
But also, like, I'm not going to leave you hanging.
You're wasting time.
You're wasting my time.
Yeah, like.
But I'm also not going to leave the other person like, I work with the other people. Like, I'm not going to like, oh, look at this idiot, can't work a projector. Like, I'm not going to do that.
I was so embarrassed, but I was like, you know what? Let me put her on the spot because she's the only person in this room that knows how to do this and is just sitting there watching me struggle. So,
yeah. But also, I do think that and this is a note for people in the future, you try to figure out those things before you actually try the case or when the jury's not out. So that way you like can make sure that's not an issue.
Yeah.
To make sure the technology is working. That is great advice for anybody listening. If
Yes.
you are in any sort of trial setting, make sure the technology works before the jury or the judge is out. So that way you don't have to be sitting there kind of wasting everybody's time when
that's
something's
exactly
not
what was
working.
happening. And
Yeah.
it's like everybody's quietly watching me struggle. And I'm like, oh my God, I've never had to do this. And the person I was doing it with, he was like, you're younger than me, you know? I'm like, I don't know technology.
It's never seamless, though. The technology in a courtroom is never seamless. It never works exactly the way that you want it to. The video never stops exactly where you want it to or starts where you want it to. The audio is never playing exactly the right way. You just have to roll with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And if the jury wants to see it again, they can have the opportunity to ask at the end to see it again.
Yeah.
And you go from there.
Exactly. So, but you just brought me back in time, and I was like, oh my. I remember when I was struggling in front of the jury due to courtroom technology. But speaking on the Morgan & Morgan case, we did say you can get disbarred, but before even that, or not disbarred, probably not disbarred. I don't think that's
I would think that's a little bit far if the person gets disbarred
I
for
think
it.
it's a little,
but
you definitely
sanctions is something that's possible, and you can be sanctioned.
And that's something you can be sanctioned like by that individual judge. Like you said, like you can be held in contempt. You can also be sanctioned like financially or whatever.
Right.
And there are different ways. It's not just, and this goes into the other topic we were talking about where you can be in trouble with the bar, you can be in trouble legally. Like those are two separate things. And so the judges are obviously, they're lawyers, they're aware of the ethical rules, and they know that you shouldn't be citing bad law. So if you're citing bad law, the other side can seek sanctions against you,
Right.
which they often do in civil court. So
There's nothing civil about civil court.
listen, I was like, why are you guys all being so mean to me? The prosecutors are so nice to me in criminal court.
Well, I think one thing to me, though, that's pretty clear is AI is not in any position to take over our in-court job. The role that we play and our ability to navigate cases for our clients is not something that I can ask ChatGPT to
No.
do for me.
Yeah.
And I can't, I can ask ChatGPT to write an email to a prosecutor, but I can't ask it to have the conversation with the prosecutor in court or tell it to come up with some of the information that I need, some of the mitigating information that I need. That's stuff that I have to do. And it's just not going to replace me in that position.
Our job is such a people job. Like, we have to connect in so many different ways with people. And yeah, we have to send emails, which we can definitely, I use chat sometimes to write my emails just because it writes it better than me. But at the same time, like, we need to be able to have like human connection and understand what people are going through when it comes to our clients, be able to understand when is the right time to actually ask for something with for the judge or the prosecutor or negotiating. Like, all of that involves like more than just communication. Like, there is more aspects to it that involves like understanding humanity, humans, how we operate. Like, it's not something that like a robot can do, I don't think, ever. And I mean, if it ever gets to that point, I think they would do a really bad job because it wouldn't be set, it would be so rigid, it wouldn't be set up for the gray areas or the way we can, the prosecutor is the only one that can depart from the guidelines, for instance. You know what I mean? Like, things like that. Like, there are just aspects of the job that like I would have a tough time imagining AI doing all lawyers' jobs.
I agree. I agree.
Or
I think
like,
it would be difficult. I don't think an AI could be a trial attorney
or a judge. Like,
right.
Can you imagine? Like, that would be scary.
Well, yeah, because they're analyzing the facts off of a piece of paper as the police officer wrote them and interpreting them as truth.
How do you, and like a lot of like factors that come into credibility, like weighing the evidence instruction always says like you can like look at, like, you're allowed
your own personal, the things that the experiences in your personal life that have shaped you into the person you are, that make you think the way that you are, that make you render a certain judgment over somebody else's actions, talking about the jury at this point.
Yeah.
Like, that's different per person.
Exactly. And like assessing credibility, like body language, like seeing if somebody's telling the truth. If there was their answer, if you're reading the answer as a robot, you're not hearing the tone in their voice, you're not seeing their body language, you're not.
The holidays are behind us and school routines are back. Now is the time to help your kids start the new semester strong. IXL helps students refresh what they learned in the fall, so they head into the new year feeling confident and prepared. With new units and new goals, IXL is the simplest way to build better habits and stay on top of lessons without the stress. As teachers dive into new material, kids can practice those exact same skills at home to make sure the lessons really stick. IXL is an award-winning platform covering math, language arts, science, and social studies for pre-K through 12th grade. It's personalized, interactive, and actually fun. Keep your kids motivated for the second half of the year at IXL.com. Don't miss out. 1 in 4 students in the U.S. are learning with IXL. IXL is used in 96 of the top 100 school districts in the U.S. Make an impact on your child's learning. Get IXL now. And listeners can get an exclusive 20% off IXL membership when they sign up today at IXLlearning.com/audio. Visit IXLlearning.com/audio to get the most effective learning program out there at the best price.
Seeing that maybe this person was confident when they said this statement, but they weren't so confident when they said this statement. And like, if you're reading it off a transcript as AI would, it would just take it for as it is and not really see that this witness is not as reliable as it seems to be on paper.
Right. But I also think, on the other hand, and I know that there's law firms that are using AI right now in jury selection, you can use the statistic benefits from AI to predict certain things that could be beneficial. And what people are doing now is, while a jury is being picked, they have a team that is funneling all of the information, or processing all the information through AI, all of the answers that they're getting from the prospective jurors, all the information about the prospective jurors, and they're getting what would be the panel that will probably be the most favorable towards them. But it's just a prediction, and it's definitely, you're dealing with these humans and human emotion and human brains. You can't predict that.
It's such a risk. Like, imagine trying that tool for the first time with your client who's facing X amount of time. Like,
well, that's why I don't think this is like a criminal, a big criminal tool yet.
Yeah, I did actually get reached out to by somebody today about that.
Oh, wow.
That they were trying to sell me the AI software for jury selection. I was like, I'm good on this for now. Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll see how this evolves over time.
Yeah.
Maybe my other friends can try it and let me know if it works.
Yeah.
But I won't be the guinea pig. My clients
I would love to get an AI report on a jury panel that I have, and then, get to look at that and consider it. But I wouldn't pick the jury just based on that.
Yeah. And how would you double check that information in order to like see if this software is actually a good software to launch? Like, do they run this information and then actually poll these jurors and find out to find out if this information is correct? Like, I would want to know all of those things, because jury selection is we had a whole topic on jury selection. Like, it's such a big part of the process. Like, I would not risk it, but it is a cool tool to think that if it ever does work successfully, I would definitely invest in it.
Yeah.
Like 100%.
Yeah, I agree.
There's also, we talked a little bit about this, but there's also this aspect of like maybe issues with like the progression of technology in terms of like what will come in the future, like VR.
Well, yeah. I mean, you want to think of ways that some of the newer technology will be implemented in courtrooms. There are ways that you can set up a VR scenario that puts you in the same position as people that are parties in the case. And what I mean by that is there is, I don't know the specific case, but I know of a case where a VR scenario was generated that was used by a criminal defense team to explain why their client reacted the way he did in self-defense. And on the VR video that the jurors watched, it showed a group of people coming at the person. And that feeling, trying to create that feeling of being like overwhelmed, needing to protect yourself and fight back. And there are going to be different ways and scenarios that come up that people are going to implement this type of technology. To, you don't have to, you can have a jury look at a crime scene with a VR headset, and they could be looking all around the room and be in the crime scene without ever having to go there. That's the type of technology, or doing different types of diagrams for reenacting crimes or accident reconstruction. All of that is different. Now, all of that also gets changed by AI, because now the ideas of ballistics for guns, it starts getting a little bit more accurate. Now we're starting to see the statistics for car crashes, or the way that the AI can process it can now spit out, hey, this vehicle never could have stopped in time to avoid this accident. So whether your client was drunk or not, they wouldn't have been able to stop the car. So that's something that now has to be considered by the state attorney's office. I mean, there's so many different ways that AI and technology are going to change and go into the courtroom. It's going to be beneficial, I think, to both sides.
Yeah. I was just thinking that.
I don't think it benefits one side more than the other. I think it'll be beneficial to both sides.
Yeah, like demonstratives, if we raise a self-defense issue and we want to show how this person felt in this situation, like you said, it was a bunch of people coming, like that is so, it's also scary to think about what it can create, but it's so cool to think that it could create that scenario again for the jury or for the judge to see. But I don't know, I didn't think about like the crime scene with the VR, like that's crazy. Like, and I do think that we will get to a point where it's like that. Speaking on like technology, it's just like anything else. Whenever our cases involve something that require expert testimony, we always need to go to the experts, and like the state will have their expert, but we also need our own expert. And what we do is we reach out to people who know how to handle these niches in whatever it is, whether it's ballistics. And in this situation, we're talking about AI and technology and the back end of these things, developers or whoever creates these. Those are the people we would consult with and say, hey, where are the, where's the error here? Because, and then that's how we would attack the case. Because otherwise, if the state is showing us something from AI that says, this is for sure your client DNA 100%, I don't know if it's something that can be incorporated with AI. Who knows, in the future. But because it never is 100%.
Right.
But we would then need to attack it with the expert in that field to explain how the error could have happened. And by doing that, we have to educate ourselves about whatever it is that we're discussing in court.
That makes sense.
And there's just a lot of different things that I think lawyers become secondary expert, like med mal lawyers. They become basically
doctors.
Yeah, they know all of it. They talk in all the doctor's languages, knowing all the diagnoses and all. For me, I'm I can't even pronounce that word. Couldn't tell you. But based off your case in criminal cases, that's what would make you more of a expert in a specific niche, is the issue in the case. But aside from that, I was just thinking, how would we attack that as criminal defense attorneys?
I don't know. And I think that it's going to come up. You're right, because there's going to have to be defenses, and there's going to have to be cross-examination to the people that are putting together these VR or AI things. And
how do we know what to cross on? We have to consult with someone who knows that product better than the person testifying about it.
Right.
But obviously, there's just a lot of dangers to technology and the progression of it, and it is bound to happen. But ultimately, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's a great tool. I think I use it to the best of my ability without risking myself. But obviously, ChatGPT and all the AI tools, I really don't think will replace us as attorneys or lawyers, litigators, maybe as the transactional ones. Yikes.
I don't know. I kind of look at ChatGPT like a firework. It's super fucking dangerous, but if you're using it with the right supervision and care, it's a wonderful thing, and it could be beautiful.
Yeah.
And it could, can change the game for you in any number of ways, but it's very dangerous at this stage. And if it's, it's new and it's a lot of power. So just be careful.
Handle with care.
Yeah. Like a firework. All right. So before we close out for the day, I want to take a moment and do some rapid fire AI based questions.
Let's hear it.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to start off with the first one. Better lawyer, ChatGPT or the guy who shows up late with coffee stains on his shirt?
I think showing up late with coffee stains on his shirt.
Most likely to be replaced first, a prosecutor, defense attorney, or court reporter?
Definitely court reporter.
Yeah, definitely court reporter.
Yeah. That's definitely already a thing.
Yeah, I think, no, because you still have stenographers in court, but you could have AI listening to it and transcribing it. Yeah. We would just have to get some sort of certification, or they would have to be certified.
It's coming.
Yeah, okay. That one sounds like it's coming. AI judges in robes, is that iconic or nightmare fuel?
Nightmare.
Yeah, it's weird.
I don't like that.
I don't like robotic judges in general.
You know what? Let me not comment on the current judges.
I was not commenting on current judges.
I was going to, and my brain was like, stop.
I'm saying an actual robot judge, not that any of the judges currently are
robots.
Or robots. Yeah, no, I'm not going there. And that is all the time we have before we do something that actually gets us in trouble. That is all the time that we have today. Monica, tell them what to do.
Yes. If you liked listening to this podcast, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on all platforms. Come back with a warrant.pod. Subscribe to our newsletter and leave us a 5-star review. And if you didn't like listening to us,
come back with a warrant.
Get smoother, brighter skin instantly in one easy step. Dermalogica's daily microfoliant gives you the smooth, glowy skin you want without damaging your skin barrier. This gentle exfoliating powder activates with water to smooth out rough texture and brighten skin. It's powerful enough to deliver results, yet gentle enough to use every single day, even on sensitive skin. See the results for yourself. Visit Dermalogica.com and use code SMOOTH at cart for an exclusive free gift with $65 purchase.